Okay, we're opening up and our participants are pouring in. Good morning, everybody. And a happy Star Wars Day for those of you who celebrate May the 4th. And May the 4th be with you all. And let's we'll be starting off in just a moment or two when I'm assuming Scott will be sharing his screen to welcome us all. I sent you the we sent you the PowerPoint just now, so you should be winging its way towards you. And there we go. So quick reminder to everybody: we will be doing our today is a webinar rather than a meeting, so you can hear us and see us, but we can't hear or see you. If you want to ask us a question, the best way to do that is to throw it into the Q&A. Please be as precise as possible about your Q&A, the question in Q&A, make it a good, clear question. Also identify what program you're talking about. Is it the PPP? Is it the EIDL, the EIDL Advance, state loans, grants, something else, anything but the more specific you are, the better. The best thing to do is have a quick look and see what's in those questions and upvote anything that's already been voted on, because that's the best way to get an answer rather than trying it yourself. Pretty much, I think that's all the things there is to say. We don't use the chat other than for technical stuff. So if you have a question or a problem, ping me in the chat or raise your hand and I'll ping you. And that's pretty much it from the briefing side. Welcome all. I think it's handed over to Scott. Let me, I need to start the live stream off. So that's going to take me a moment or two to do that. I shall do that while Scott is going. So we have to kind of do a little jig around with start it and stop it and restart it. So we're working on that. But Scott.
Go ahead and, Alan, just wait a couple minutes. There's barely 200 people or 200. So you can wait like another minute or two. It is Monday morning. Okay.
Sure.
How's Noah doing today?
Yes, great. I'm doing fantastic, Scott. Thanks for asking.
Oh, goody. It's always good when SBA is doing well.
Okay, and then I'm going to.
Noah, did you see that I sent you an email on Friday?
What about?
Just check your email.
Okay.
About like what you're gonna wear today and stuff like that.
Yeah, I was coordinating outfits, Scott. That's what it was about.
There you go.
Did not work out. I'm sorry. I dropped the ball.
Right.
I had a client of yours call me this morning who worked with Wanda Ditmars.
Yes.
She had a lot of great things to say about her.
That's really exciting. Thank you.
She just called up and was like, I was working with this person and I love working with them and they're the nicest person ever. So
that's exciting. Wanda's new. That's super exciting. Thank you very much for that. All right, so we have about 230 people on the call. We'll go ahead and kick it off. So good morning, everyone. Welcome to Northern California SBDC, Small Business Development Center's tri-weekly call that we have every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 10:30 to 11:30 to bring the most updated information to you or just some help to answer some questions for applying for these loans. So today is May 4th. And we are all in this together. So, whoopsie. So as far as a quick introduction, my name is Scott Rogowski. I'm the director of Northern California SBDC Finance Center. We are a team of loan experts and advisors that do nothing but specialize in helping people get access to capital. Before COVID, that was startups and expansion businesses, buy buildings, buy businesses. But during COVID, it is strictly 100% disaster related. So to help navigate the arduous process of getting approved or applying for PPP or EIDL or other loans that you may want to apply for. So Northern California SBDC, we are funded by SBA, Small Business Administration. And we are also funded by the state of California at the economic development of the governor's office called GoBiz. Because of this funding and support that we receive, we come to you at no cost. As a small business owner, you can work with us one-on-one. It's 100% confidential, and that comes at no cost to you. So at the Finance Center, I do have an associate director. Her name is Sunita Maharaj. She's also on this call, and she's going to help out with Q&A and some clarification around different parameters within the loans and the intricacies of each. We also have Ann Johnson Stromberg. She's the associate director of the whole network of NorCal SBDC, and she's the program manager. She's going to help with the Q&A. And then also we have Noah Broad here from SBA, the San Francisco district office, but he helps us overall for a whole region. So that's a quick introduction. So we know that Small Business Week was canceled by SBA for good reasons because of COVID. So there's not nearly as much going on this week as we normally have. We have a lot of webinars, a lot of educational events to teach you different things on how to successfully grow and thrive in your business. But we just wanted to recognize it as National Small Business Week. Everything that we do is for small businesses and for our clients and for the small business community. And we do that at no cost. And we're here for you 100%, especially in this time of need right here and disaster. But we want to let you know that we're rooting for your business and we're here for you. So happy Small Business Week. All right. So disclaimer.
I will say, Scott, we postponed it so that we can have a bigger event later in the year. We would never cancel National Small Business Week.
Okay. Well, good. I'm glad we recognized it. It is coming soon. You probably don't have a date right now. All right, no date, but we are celebrating your business, and we're here, we're rooting for you, and we are going to help you survive this. All right, so quick disclaimer, things are changing all the time. This information was correct when we put it together, but things are changing all the time. For those of you that have been on multiple webinars with us, we made it through April, now we're in May, and for the most part, there hasn't been a lot of changes. We're going to go over a little bit today. Noah may have an update or two, but for the most part, everything's been pretty much the same the last couple of weeks. Just some different intricacies within how you would dissect the triple P and the forgivability of it. But we do want to say, do not hesitate to apply for either the EIDL or the triple P. The triple P is still available. You can still get funding depending on where you go. The EIDL, the portal is going to relaunch soon for everyone. We did get some word on it partially relaunching today, and Noah will go into that a little bit. But if you have a lot of investors or partners in part of your ownership structure, we ask that you reach out to them first before you apply for these loans. They may not want to take on this debt, so it's good to ask. Also, we don't have access to check on the status of your submitted SBA EIDL loan, so we ask that you're still really patient. SBA states that if you were in the queue before they shut down the web portal, you are still in the queue and they are going to get to you. They are going to assign a case manager to you and help you process your paperwork to get funding. And also, if you apply for the triple P, you're waiting on the bank, you just really need to find out if there's an SBA loan number assigned to your loan application. If there is not, that might be the wrong bank for you to be with or to apply. You may want to withdraw and apply somewhere else. So the new funding, we've gone over this, over and over and over again. I don't have an update, and maybe Noah does, as far as how much money has been spent so far with this new tranche of triple P. But originally the way it was rolled out is 320 for triple P, 260 billion is open for everyone, all big banks, all little banks. And then 60 billion was set aside for specific smaller community bank lenders, under 10 billion in size, and then some mid-sized banks between 10 and 50 billion in size. But, and then of that new funding, there was 60 billion set aside for the EIDL, which is the Economic Injury Disaster Loan, 50 billion for loan reserves, and 10 billion for that advance of forgivability. So a quick loan overview. The Paycheck Protection Program is probably the hottest item right now for loans, since it's the only one that's open to all right now. I like to call that the triple P. It's a lot easier to say. The Economic Injury Disaster Loan is also known as the SBA loan. That's money directly from SBA. There's no lenders involved. The triple P money comes from lenders, everyday 7A lenders. The EIDL loan there's a loan, and then there's also an advance. The advance is what's forgivable. There's a lot of SBA loan support happening now, and and will be happening as we continue throughout this year. But SBA is automatically paying the principal and interest of all 7A loans, 504 and microloans for the first 6 months for any new loan that you get today. 504 is mostly used for larger pieces of equipment and real estate, if any of you are looking to buy real estate. Also, SBA will automatically pay the principal and interest and fees of any new 7A 504 microloans prior to September 27th. If any, for those of you that are in California, which is probably all of you, there's some sales tax deferment that may qualify for your business. You need to reach out to the state to find out. And also there's some iBank loans out of the governor's office of GoBiz. All right, so the forms that are needed for the PPP and a little bit of some calculations from questions that we get pretty frequently. So there's a universal form, and this universal form is not the only form that you need to fill out. It's just the form that kind of gets your foot in the door to any lender, and then lenders will have their own specific form, and then they will also have their own list of documents that they need from you, whether it be taxes or interim financial statements. Something that is very consistent is if you're a sole proprietor, 2019, they're going to ask for all your 2019 1099s. And if you have your 2019 Schedule C, great. If you don't have it, we can work with you if your CPA is not available, but we can help you put that together and kind of craft a 2019 Schedule C so that you can see what you qualify for. If you're not a Schedule C, meaning Schedule C is everyone that's a sole proprietor, if you're self-employed, or if you have 1099s. All other entities, you need to gather all your 2019 W-2s, 941s or 940s, which are your quarterly payroll reports for all 2019. This will help the lender help you figure out what you qualify for. Sole proprietors come up a lot. So as I mentioned, sole proprietor is someone that is self-employed, someone that has a Schedule C on their 1040 taxes, someone that has 1099 contracts like an Uber or a Lyft or an Airbnb or a hairstylist or a real estate agent. Those are the ones that have been coming up the most. Or if you're a consultant, the loan amount is calculated by looking at line 31. That is your profit or loss. You divide it by 12 and times by 2.5. That's 2.5 months worth of essentially payroll, which would go to the owner. And then the forgivability part of that is you take line 31 divided by 52 weeks and times it by 8, because the forgivability part is the first 8 weeks from when you get the money. So the 8 weeks start the day you get funded. The 8 weeks start the day you get funded. The 8 weeks start the day you get funded. So you don't have a lot of time to figure out what you're going to spend it on. You should have done that before. We can help you with that before you sign your paperwork, but the 8 weeks start the day you actually get the money in your account. The object of the PPP is to get people off of unemployment and to put them back in your business, regardless if you're open or not. You're supposed to bring them back, pay them to sit at home. That's kind of how the law was written. Obviously, there's a lot of questions around that, and we're here for you. What's forgivable? Well, your best forgivability determinants would be that you spend 75 to 100% on employee costs, payroll costs. And if you do that, then it's more likely going to be 100% forgivable. And then if you want to break it up, you can do 75% on payroll costs and 25% or less on rents, utilities, or interest debt payments. And the standard operating procedures, or the PPMs, policy procedure manuals, have not been written yet from SBA and the Treasury's office they haven't been dispersed to everybody like us and you on the call, the small business owners. So we don't have the exact parameters of exactly what the lenders and SBA are going to call 100% forgivability. We don't have those answers. We just know what we're telling you here right now. So if you are you bank at a big bank, or maybe you bank a little bank, but they're at capacity, they can't take any more applications. We can help you fill out your application, the universal application I spoke about on the previous slides. Or you could go to sba.gov/paycheck protection/fine, type in a zip code near you and find some local lenders around you. We have given this webinar, I don't really know how many times, if it's 3 times a week for almost 6 weeks. It's a lot of webinars, 18, 15, 18, somewhere around there. This list right here has actually shrunk, which I'm sure most of you have noticed. We used to have Lendistry up here. Lendistry is now at capacity from what we're being told. They may reopen up if they're able to get some more money from outside funders like Goldman Sachs or something like that. The only one that I know of locally, and we wanted to kind of keep this more local to Northern California SBDC network, Opportunity Fund is out of San Francisco. They're statewide. They also lend across different states in the country, but they are offering loans up to 150. And they are actually one of the few lenders that I've talked to personally that are doing PPP loans under 10,000 or under even 50,000. Most of the big banks or nonprofit lenders that said they're going to do PPP loans, they cap the minimum at 50,000. But Opportunity Fund has said they've done several loans under 10 and a lot of loans under 25. So if you are one of those business owners that only need 10 grand or less for PPP, I strongly recommend you apply at Opportunity Fund, which we have the link. I apologize I didn't put it in here. We can get that in the chat soon before the call. So these are, this list I will continue to share until SBA comes out with a different list, but this is strictly from SBA, from Noah. He hooked me up with this list. These are non-federally regulated PPP lenders. Non-federally regulated means they are not FDIC insured banks per se. SBA, whether it was SBA or Congress, which I know they're kind of like sort of the same people, but Congress came out, or maybe not, I don't know, no, not the same people. Okay, I apologize, take it back. So Congress came out a couple weeks ago and said, or maybe a month ago, I don't know, and they realized that big banks weren't going to be able to process all these transactions as fast as humanly possible or as business owners as you needed them to. So Congress reached out to some of these top fintech companies that you see here. Fintech is short for financial technology. It's essentially banks and lenders online. They don't have brick and mortars like the big banks or little banks that you bank with. They reached out to them and tapped them on the shoulder and said, hey, are you willing to step up to the plate and offer PPP loans? And now the Congress is working with non-federally regulated lenders because they know these fintech lenders can process stuff a lot faster and exponentially faster than big banks and some community banks. So this is a list that we're sharing. If you are filling out the EIDL, when the EIDL the web portal becomes available to everyone soon, these are some of the forms, the extra forms that you may need to get ready so that you can be better prepared, so that when they ask you, hey, do you have this available? And you say, yes, I filled it out with the SBDC. They helped me and we're ready to go now. These are some of the forms that you may need to complete. And we have access to all these forms for you. So the current loans that are offered in the state of California, if you are disqualified in any way for a PPP or an EIDL loan, whether you were straight up declined because of credit issues or other issues, or you have one of these other 4 bullet points down here, you have a non-US ID, you're a 501c6, which is a chamber of commerce mostly. You have zero payroll, or your line 31 on your Schedule C is negative, or you're delinquent on any federal loans, and you have any federal loan liens, like a student loan that you forgot to pay off, or you just didn't want to pay off, or another SBA loan that you had on another business or another joint business that went delinquent, and now you have a federal lien on your credit. If any of this relates to you, whether you're straight up declined for a PPP or an EIDL loan, or you have one of these other ones that straight do not qualify for an EIDL or PPP loan, then you may qualify. Actually, you will qualify, but depending on a lot of different determinants and factors, for up to a $50,000 microloan fund through ibank.ca.gov, or up to $1 million of a disaster state loan guarantee program that's administered through financial development corporations, also known as FDCs. There's 7 in the state of California. Local to our network, there's 2. There's for Solano South, there's one in Oakland. A gentleman by the name of Chris Horton, he's one of our financial advisors, also does some work for NorCal FDC in Oakland, and they are processing these loans of $50,000 and $1 million. And then Yola North, you can email us at loans@asksbdc.com. Sunita and I do some local work with the local one up here. We're in Sacramento, Sunita and I, and our team is mostly up here, and we have direct access to one in Sacramento called California Capital, and they're also administering and doing these loans up to $1 million and these $50,000 loans. So if you need any assistance with that, because you know you disqualified or you were declined, we're here for you. We can help you at no cost. And that is my information. So now we're going to go to Q&A. If you want to interact with us, either like lively, like right now as we're speaking, you can go on asksbdc.com. You can see us speaking right now, live streamed. You can ask a question you could talk to the chat bot, ask a question, or you could click the question box and ask a question. And we are getting back to these questions within 1 to 2 days. You can call us right now as we're speaking and talk to a live person. Those we get back to you same day, in 24 hours. And then you can email us at loans@asksbdc.com. We also have an affiliate partner of us, of Northern California, and that is the California Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. They cover our whole region to help out with Spanish-speaking business owners and individuals that need help with accessing these loans. You can email them at espanol@asksbdc.com. Oscar Garcia and Julian Canetti of that team, they do an amazing job. They can help you in language for Spanish-speaking businesses. You can also contact SBA Disaster at the phone number here. And you can also email them if you have questions about your existing loan or your potential loan that is going through the process. So thank you very much. I'm going to stay on till 11:30 to help out with Q&A. But I would, before I give it to Ann, I'd like to give it to Noah and see if Noah had any quick updates that you wanted to chat about.
Yeah, we do actually have a few updates. So as of this morning, well, actually, I don't know if we have gone live. We made the announcement this morning, and we have not yet gone live with the new application, but we're going to be reopening applications for the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program today. And that application will be restricted only to agricultural businesses. So if you're an agricultural business, you'll be able to put in an application, and applicants who applied before March 29th can also put in can resubmit their applications through that portal as well. So for the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program, if you had an application number that started with 2, or you applied prior to March 29th, you should go on and reapply. Or if you're an agricultural business, we won't be opening up the applications to all comers immediately. And I don't have information about when we'll broaden that application process as of yet.
Noah, I did check the system about an hour ago, and they did, the application is live for the ag business and for the people that applied prior to.
Okay, that is great to hear, really. Okay. And I just want to check just a little bit ago, didn't see it up. But okay, so good to hear that we have that portal up. The other update is we did release some initial or some reporting about the second round of Paycheck Protection Program funding. So I can put it in the chat, the link to our report. So this came out just yesterday, and here it is. So this came out just yesterday, and as of yesterday, SBA nationally had issued just over, PPP lenders to this program had issued a little over 2 million loans for a total of $175 billion. So the total authorized by Congress. was on the second round, our total, I think, was $450 billion, an additional $450 billion to PPP. And so as of yesterday, a little over almost half of it had been issued under the PPP program. The average size loan under that program in the second round was $79,000. So they're primarily smaller lenders or smaller loans that were being issued. And then the link that I put in chat has kind of a breakdown by states and a breakdown by different loan thresholds as well, and a little breakdown by which types of lenders are participating the most. So if they're lenders who had under $10 billion in assets, primarily smaller lenders in the second round have done about 32% of all the lending, and the bigger banks have done about 53%.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Anne, and I'm going to be going through these questions. Please be sure to vote up other people's questions so that you can have a better chance of having your question read, okay? We're going to start with Karen. She's a sole prop with no employees. She applied for the PPP on April 15th through Chase, and funds were deposited May 2nd. She's saying, can I pay myself the entire 10-week loan over 8 weeks in 2 payments? If so, will this make my loan 100% forgivable? She says, over the 13 years of being in business, I take steady draws, but do increase my draws when business is up. This shouldn't raise any flags, correct? Question mark.
I don't know. That's a very specific question, and it seems. I mean, I don't know if you want to answer it.
So there's a few items that were. I mean, so I don't know which part is the part where. The short answer is yes. You can pay yourself as a sole proprietor who applied to the PPP. You are limited to what is essentially an 8-week draw of what you had reported on your taxes the prior year. And so there's a cap. You can't pay yourself more than what would amount to 8 weeks of what you reported last year. And there's no restrictions on how frequently you're making payments. It's all about the number of, it's all about the amount, how much of that loan is going towards payroll expenses or that 8-week owner draw, or that 8-week limit from what you had paid yourself the prior year.
She's saying, will it make it 100% forgivable?
And then for self-employed individuals, there's a whole category of questions that fall into the area of we are still awaiting guidance from the Treasury and SBA about forgiveness and what the detailed elements of forgiveness look like. I had hoped that we would get those rules issued last week. It looks like maybe it'll come out this week. So for self-employed individuals who are paying themselves that 8-week period, that part will be forgiven. It's the, whatever is left over. And the answer is, I'm not sure yet about that other portion. What I can say now is the way that the PPP program works is at least, that remaining portion of the loan that's issued, it doesn't have prepayment penalties, or so worst comes to worst, if you didn't want it to, if that remaining portion wasn't eligible for forgiveness, you can pay it back with no penalty, and rather than have that convert to a 1% interest loan.
Rick is asking, is there any update on audit requirements for PPP loans?
So we announced that we're going to be looking at all PPP loans over $2 million that were issued under the program. But I don't know if he's maybe talking about maybe
He
on
said a modest PPP loan.
a modest what?
He said it was a modest PPP loan. I don't know what modest means.
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
$2,000.
But if it's over $2 million, it'll be reviewed by SBA. We'll also be randomly reviewing loans at all loan sizes, but there is a threshold that gets triggered for any loan over $2 million.
Okay. And we don't have any direct guidance on whether or not new PPP or new employees can be rehired with PPP funds. New employees can be hired rather than rehired for PPP funds.
I mean, that's not like in the explicit guidance listed yet, but it's always been, I feel like under, yeah, the drivers of the PPP program are headcount and expenses. And we did have an update, a clarification at least made this morning on the FAQs from the Treasury, saying that clarifying, if you go back to your employees and they refuse to return to work because of either health concerns or because they earn more on unemployment, what the Treasury release says that business owners won't be held responsible for that situation, but they need documentation. So you need to issue a formal offer to hire back to that employee and have that as part of your documentation, and you won't be and any employee that falls into that category will be exempted from the forgiveness requirements that end up in the rule that we eventually do issue. I'll link that FAQ here because I saw in the chat somebody asked for it.
I just sent it, Noah.
Oh, thanks. Okay. Yeah, it was question 40, which was added this morning. But in terms of hiring new employees, it's been my understanding with this program that is always like that's always been perfectly fine under this program because it's going to be driven by head count and not necessarily the same, it doesn't have to be the same people as before the crisis.
Okay. Arvin is asking, can employees still claim California unemployment, particularly still get the $600 a week stimulus if we hired them back part-time using the PPP funds? The answer to that is no, Arvin. The purpose of the PPP funds was to divert people from unemployment. So hopefully that gets you what you were looking for there. Anne is asking, in order to maximize a PPP, do we need to retain all the employees? We just kind of talked about that. And in terms of rehiring and all of that, I think that's the answer that Noah just had provided us. Jen says, we finally started getting your EIDL application emails from the SBA. We applied on 3/31 and now have an app number, still no requests for additional documents. Any idea what this means about our status?
Yeah, for EIDL status updates, the only source we can get that our office can provide for that is the 1-800 number right now. The Office of Disaster Assistance is the only office that's capable of providing status updates. If there are a few items to keep on your radar as you're in that period of waiting, because there is on the one hand it is just waiting for that office to get through those applications. There are a few proactive things that business owners can do while they're in that waiting period. Check that your credit isn't frozen. So if you have freezes, because SBA will check your credit for advances and for the loan underwriting process, and that can impose a delay if they run into a credit freeze. So if you've done that of your own accord, it's a good proactive step to just lift those while you're waiting. If you have credit monitoring software, you can look at the, if you have credit monitoring software, you can look at and see if polls have been made on your credit. And that's kind of a good sign that you're kind of getting processed at that time. And then for the advances, those just get deposited straight into your bank account without notification. So kind of check your bank account. But unfortunately, I can't give status updates from our local office. And I did see, just as a clarification, I saw in the chat about forgiveness, whether it's a head count or FTEs, and it is FTEs. So just want to clarify, sorry.
Kim is saying, I have received my PPP loan. Will I be able to take advantage of the EIDL $10,000 loan forgiveness portion? That's the loan forgiveness portion. Part of the EIDL is a completely different loan, but you can receive both the EIDL and the PPP loans. But if you do, there's a reduction in the amount of the PPP or one of them, right?
Yeah, so the total amount of forgiveness that will be granted under the PPP loan is going to be reduced by the size of the grant that you get under the EIDL. So if you got, if you were eligible for, hypothetically $100,000 of a PPP, but then you had gotten a $10,000 EIDL grant, then the total amount at the end of the day that you'd be eligible to get forgiven under the PPP would be $90,000.
Jolyn is asking, is it true that the EIDL is now only open for ag businesses? That answer is yes. Ag businesses and businesses that had applied prior to the new application that was launched on
March 29th.
Yep, the evening of March 29th.
Okay. So for now, yes, that is true. Let's see. I have received the PPP loan and have 8 employees. All of them are on unemployment and making more money on unemployment. Can I use 25% of the loan to pay my lease for the business and not pay my employees, and then just pay back the 75% I didn't use on employees?
It's a great question. I think that one falls under the we're waiting for this for the next interim rule around the forgiveness process to be issued by Treasury and SBA. So that definitely falls into that category of what does forgiveness, what does the exact detailed process for forgiveness look like? The advice I have for business owners at this time who've already probably gotten their funds and have started that 8-week clock is to focus on the core purpose of the program, which are payroll expenses, to document how you're making those expenses as you're making them, and to work closely with your lender, tell them what your plan is, because ultimately you'll be applying for that forgiveness with your lender. And the last thing I'd say is also look at the promissory note of the loan that you signed with the lender, because in some cases lenders are indicating in that note how they want business owners to be documenting or using funds for the forgiveness portion on their own now. So those are kind of the guidance, the way that you can orient yourself. So that seems like a riskier strategy for me, that looking at just that 25%.
We had a whole bunch of people in the chat say that they finally received an email or some sort of notification from EIDL, which is really good news. Congratulations on that to all of you. It means something is happening. What exactly and when, we don't know, but it means something is happening. So there's some stuff going on in the background. Toya is asking, can we control the funding date of our PPP loan? My business is closed, and even when things begin to reopen, it may not be a while because we are a children's play business. I only have 8 weeks from funding to use the money. on payroll, I'd like to push the reopening out to make sense for our real opening.
Unfortunately, you cannot affect the funding date. The lender only has a certain amount of time to get you that money. If they do not get you that money in that allotted time, which is, I believe, 10 days, then that money could go away. So you would have to take that money and you would have to start paying your employees as of the date you receive the funds. So yes, the 8 weeks start the day that you receive the funds.
Okay.
I would also add on that we also released additional guidance to our lenders saying that if a loan has not closed within 20 days of being approved, that the lender has to cancel the loan. So, you know, so there are, you know, in some cases, like if people are trying to buy more time by not signing the promissory note or not signing closing documents or things like that, there are guidelines as well to automatically cancel loans if it's taking too long.
Martin is saying, for those who have already received PPP loans, can you point to any Excel templates for tracking expenditures? I have not seen anything. Have you guys seen any tools that people have recommended?
Tools for what?
Excel templates for tracking expenditures for PPP.
You can create an Excel sheet and just state every week where that money's going. So you can use your own. There is not one specific Excel sheet that you have to use. So even if you're handwriting it, you know, that's okay too, just as long as you can document where all the money's going. We've also suggested that people possibly put that money into a separate account so they know exactly where all that money's going when it's leaving that account. So you have a track record. So you have a record also from your bank statement showing where all the funds are going. So there's not one necessarily. There are, I've seen at some, your bank may have one. I know that First Northern Bank has a Excel sheet, but that's really just to calculate how much money you're going to get. The lenders may be giving you some as well to help you and help them calculate all of this at the end of the 8 weeks. So I do see the lenders creating something for you to help you with that. So that way it's easier for them to review all the documents.
Alana is asking, can an existing PPP loan amount be revised? SBA released guidance to include K1 partnership income after our application was already processed and the loan is funded.
Well, if the loan is already funded, probably not. If it is still in the queue, I know that lenders can reduce what is in an application. And there are some restrictions on edits that they can make to submitted approvals to our system. And I don't think at this time they can increase the loan amount that's been approved. So unless, yeah, if they've already approved and dispersed funds on that one, they could try to return funds. I don't even know. I don't know if they could.
Sounds messy.
The funds are already allotted to that company. So to give it back and try and get new funds, we don't know if the funds are still going to be there for them to be able to reapply and get a whole new loan. So that would be
it'd be really risky.
The risky, yeah, exactly.
Okay. The PPP, okay, this is coming from Hugh. There are a lot of questions like this that we frequently don't read, guys, because we don't have a good answer for them, but I'm going to go ahead and read this one and then we'll be done with it. The PPP and EIDL are not enough to pay for all our ongoing fixed expenses for those who are totally shut down with no current business income. How are we supposed to pay for the rest of our expenses? Can SBA look into a small business bailout rather than all these debt programs?
It's a really good question. If the PPP and EIDL funds are not enough for you, I think the EIDL, I mean, the way it originally launched, and it may change, but we don't know yet, is if you spent the money that you received from the EIDL, you could potentially reapply after you spend it for however many months it was, as far as working capital. You can reapply for more EIDL. It's happened before in the past. I mean, in the past 6 weeks, we've had clients that have gone back and gotten more. But in addition to that, there's other loans that exist out there. There's bridge loans. There's a bridge loan called SBA bridge loan, but that's not the loan I'm talking about. There's other bridge loans that exist that we have access to, and we can teach you about it. You just need to email us or call us, and we can help you out with that.
But those are loans, those aren't grants, and they're definitely not a bailout. So
No, there's not a lot of other bailouts. The triple P is really the only thing, and an EIDL advance. But
right.
if you're going to save your business, I would not wait for a bailout. I would take one of these loans. They're good loans. The EIDL is the best, if you ask me, even though it's not forgivable. It's the easiest to work around and work with inside your business. There's not a lot of different parameters. You don't have to spend a certain amount of money in a certain amount of time to get it forgivable. So you have 30 years to pay it back. It's a good loan.
We also have grant information on asksbdc.com, so you can go on there and figure out if any of those grants would be appropriate for your business, or if your business is one to be able to apply for it. Because they all have different stipulations, so it's really difficult to go through each one of them when there's so many differences, and it's specific possibly to an industry or location.
Right. Okay. Janet is saying, for the PPP, is there a date to use to determine the FTE we need to hire back? Our payroll is highly variable. What was the formula that you had come up with for determining that?
For sole prop?
Go by the same route, right?
For sole proprietor or what?
She doesn't say expressly, just is there a date to use to determine the FTE we need to hire back? Our payroll is highly variable.
So you just need to look at your Q4, like October to December of 2019. If you're variable, it depends. You may be a seasonal business, and maybe the last 3 months of the year is your high peak. I don't know. What you're going to have to do, if that's the case, if you're seasonality and you're a variable, then you need to take a look at your 2019 payroll, and you need to add it up month to month and then divide by 12 and find your average. Because your average, whether it be bonus structures or commissions or regular payroll, it is going to be your average that you normally spend, that you need to spend in 8 weeks to make it 100% forgivable. So it's an average.
Okay. Let's see. I'm scrolling through these questions, trying to find some. I did have a good one here. Cindy's saying, any more details on the granular definition of payroll costs that will be eligible for forgiveness? Gross earnings, FICA, unemployment insurance, question mark.
So are those all covered, Sunita, currently? Or
No, the FICA is not. So
it's only state taxes, not federal taxes. So
correct.
And it's any sick medical benefit stuff, leave, and then also some retirement contributions, and yeah. So there's besides what we are telling you right now and what we have access to share with you through websites and other documents, is we haven't received any more explanation in terms of what could be covered as payroll or not covered as payroll costs. and we won't know until SBA and the Treasury actually submits something.
Okay. Joyce is saying she just got approved for a PPP loan of $7,700. I am the only employee. How do I account for payroll for me? And so, can you say that again, the formula?
Sure. Yeah, it's the 8 weeks. So if we go back to the slide that previously, it's a similar question that was asked earlier. It's going to be 8 weeks. And let's see here. So forgiveness, take line 31, divide it by 52 weeks and multiply it by 8. That's the maximum amount that you can pay yourself. The rest of it is probably going to have to go to utilities and such, and rent or interest payments only. We will get more information out in regards to forgivability, but that's how they're calculating it at this point in time for sole props Schedule C people. Forgiveness, take line 31, divide that by 52, and multiply that by 8. And that is the amount, the maximum amount you can pay yourself.
Okay. Brian is saying he received a SBA application number, and it says that the email says it's ready for the next step. Create your SBA EIDL portal account to provide additional details or requested documents. They received the email, but the link was bad, and we cannot create an account. Do you know how we can get the link resent to us?
If you want to email our local district office, which is sfomail@sba.gov, I'll elevate that issue and see if we can get that resolved. So please reach out to us directly on that.
Thank you, Noah. That's great. Sue, you have a really specific long question. I'm going to recommend that you just put a phone call directly into the Ask SBDC phone number. That's the 833 Ask SBDC, and maybe get some one-on-one assistance to help with your specific situation. I know that we can't go through your specific industry in this webinar. Anelia is saying, I got the loan. Do employees accrue sick pay even when they're not working and getting paid with the PPP?
I don't think so. That's a really weird question. I
That's
think
a
that's
great question.
I think it's an internal question. Like, that's not like a me or you or anybody question. I think that's internal and how it works with their HR team or their benefits. I doubt that. That doesn't even make sense. Why would somebody accrue sick leave if they're not even working there? If they're like on unemployment. I think the answer is no, but I'm not an HR law guy. I have no idea, but I think that's an internal business question. I don't think anyone can answer that question.
Yeah, I think it's a business decision if you're going to allow those benefits to continue, sick time or even vacation time. So that's an internal thing. Of course, you can ask one of our advisors, maybe if you want to just talk about it and go over it, they can help you work through those questions. But that would definitely be something internal and what your management team is going to be willing to do during this time.
So Amy's saying, since we got funded for PPP, should we have our employees get off their partial unemployment and put them on our PPP program? That's the purpose of the PPP. She's saying that it's possible people aren't going to want to come back because they make more money on unemployment. Should we pay them more than they had been paid in the first place?
You could pay them up to 25% more, I think, is the number. So you could pay them more.
Well, I mean, that's also one where we haven't had the forgiveness guidance issued yet. So the 25%, I'm sure, where'd you read that one, Scott?
Just talked to some attorneys and that's what they said, but yeah, okay. I know what you're saying. We don't really know. We also don't know if EDD is going to get involved and cut off unemployment funds to people like your employees that refuse to come back to work. We've been told that that may happen too, but as we can all imagine, that's going to be a paperwork nightmare. But that could happen. If you try to hire somebody back, they say no, but you're offering them a good job, regardless if it's less than what they're getting on unemployment, and they refuse, then they could eventually not receive unemployment anymore.
Okay. Robert saying, I got the EIDL for $1,000. Are they going to give the other 9,000, or is it going to stay the same? Will I hear anything on the loan for the EIDL soon? So the EIDL, the $10,000 advance was reduced to $1,000 per employee. I'm assuming, Robert, that you're probably a sole proprietor. So that means that that's what you will be receiving from the EIDL. And if you've received that advance, then yes, you are still in the queue for the EIDL loan, and it remains to be seen what, you know, you'll be receiving from them once your complete applications process. So we don't know the answer to that question. I certainly would recommend that if you have additional questions specifically to your case, that you try the 800 number. The SBA disaster 800 number is on the screen, 800-659-2955. Let's see. Jessica is saying, I just need to pay rent in order to keep our business open. My husband and I are the only employees, and our business never made enough money to pay ourselves since it was fairly new. Could we use the PPP just to pay rent?
You could. It's just not known how much is actually going to be forgivable. I mean, there is that number, 25% or less spent on rent, utilities, and interest debt payments is going to be potentially forgivable. But to Noah's point earlier, we don't know what those parameters are going to be put into law that everybody's going to have to abide by. So you could.
Yeah,
use
you just might not get forgiveness.
Yeah, you just might not get forgiveness. Yeah.
I mean, that actually is, you have to almost take a step back on the PPP. Those funds, you know, most of the questions about, you know, can I use these funds for this or this or this, they're in the context of qualifying for forgiveness. If you decided to just accept the loan terms as they are, the 1% annual interest rate and 2-year term, then it's just a regular business loan that could be used for pretty much any business purpose.
Okay. Let's see. I reported 5 employees, Mickey says, from January 1st, but only have 4 today. What's the deadline to have the 5th employee? I'm not exactly sure where you're at with the PPP process, Mickey. So that would be hard to say. I would call the 800-833 Ask SBDC to talk about your specific circumstance.
I mean, to answer anybody's question regarding when is the right time to hire the 5th person or the 6th or the 2nd or whatever, you really only have 8 weeks to spend that money to make it sure that it's 100% forgivable. So you need to do that as soon as possible, if you were to ask me.
Okay. Shelly is saying, if my bookkeeper is a part-time person but a contractor, can I use the PPP to pay her for forgiveness as well?
Well, no. I mean, if she's a 1099 employee, that would be a business expense.
Yeah, you could use the EIDL for that, but you can't use the triple P because any 1099 contractor underneath you as a business owner can actually qualify by themselves. So you can't include any 1099 contractors in your PPP calculations. They get to apply all by themselves.
Okay. Jessica is saying, my husband and I are the only employees. Our business is new. We never paid ourselves anything. We just need to pay our rent. Which would be better, the EIDL or the PPP?
Well, I mean, we don't know, actually, to be honest with you. The idle sounds like the best deal, but it's not forgivable. If you want it forgivable, then the triple P might work. Just we don't know if it's going to be 100% forgivable. So if she doesn't care about forgivability, I would say the idle.
And at this point in time, you can only apply for the PPP because the idle is not open to all industries. It's only open to agriculture and to those that applied prior to 3/29.
Okay. Noah, Brian, who we had talked about, missed your email address to accelerate that. Do you want to?
It's gone back. We've posted it.
Yeah, I put it in chat, but anybody who also wants to reach out to our office, our inbox is sfomail, mail, @sba.gov.
All right.
I'll
Great.
put that in chat for everybody then. There's
Okay.
also a link in the chat so you can download the presentation today.
All right. We're at 11:30, guys, so that'll have to be our last question. Thank you all for participating in our webinar today. We look forward to hopefully having some new information for you all on Wednesday at 10:30 a.m. Thank you to all of our panelists and our host, Alan. Have a great day, everyone.
Bye.